We've all been in spaces where we don't belong. And that's always going to happen because we don't belong with everybody. We belong with some, but not everybody. I remember sitting in a room and the weight was absolutely crushing. I It was this heaviness just resting on me as I'm laying in the hospital bed. It's the kind that almost feels panicky, that your heart races and you feel yourself going, oh. And then I sat there and I was looking, and it was like a darkness hanging over the space. I sat there for hours just going, oh, what? And then I screamed, I could have never seen Eliza again on this earth. And then at the moment, the weight lifted. The room got clearer. It was still dark in the room, but it wasn't black. It wasn't just unseeable. That was a crushing space of being had just been not where I belonged. The the doctors told me this. We were calling time of death, but they gave me the time frame of 5.5 minutes. To which I said, "What do you mean? You stopped trying to bring me back after 5.5 minutes? What the hell? 5.5 minutes is the length of time they might tell you because that's the point where they can claim legal death." So apparently I died on the operating table in a routine surgery. And what does this have to do with belonging? Well, everywhere I was, where I was, I should say, I didn't belong there. And it was joyous and it was beautiful. I was running with kids. But that's not where I belonged. Even when I came back from that, the weight of that not where I belong showed up in the hospital room in that bed for hours until I let that out. Now, when I was in that state, and you can give this a try if you want, you don't see a lot of things because everything is consuming in the space of not belonging. So I want you to think about it and then go like this and then pay attention to what you don't get to see because you've just constrained yourself. And in our work worlds, we're going to spend uh, over 2,000 hours a year, more than likely in a space of not belonging. That's really what happens to us. I was just talking with the CEO, and she said, "Wait a minute, I want more belonging in my work." And I said, "Apparently, you seem like you actually have some, which you're a rarity." And she goes, "No, I want more." I said, "Okay, that's cool. We can do some work together." But the kicker was, I asked her, "So what do you think the amount of companies that have belonging at work is?" And she goes, "Oh." I said, "Research has it at actual belonging at about maybe 20% of the companies." She goes, "No way. There's absolutely no way." She goes, "I have coffee shops. People come there to belong. They will leave work to go to the space to belong there." And so we spend so much of our time in a space of unbelonging, and it's at a real cost to how truly good we can be. I mean, it's phenomenal how we could just really get to a far better place. And what I want to give you is the path to belonging that helps you get into that space. You're not stuck in a place of disempowerment. Now we're told all sorts of things to fix belonging, yet we're never told that we're empowered to fix our belonging. We're told we only get to receive certain things to belong. And then somebody will point out, well, you need this, you need money, you need to learn more, you need purpose. By the way, the believe here is the other half of what we do need for being together and belonging. We have to have the purpose that we'll share. And that's usually what work can be. But the belonging part, we're told, oh, if you get to be accepted, you're included, you have an identity, and you get to be authentic. Those are affirmation, not belonging. Belonging is a relational space. That's a conditional space. If you get those, then you belong. Where's your power? It doesn't exist. It's with everybody else. However, if you get a view of belonging that puts the power on you and in you, now you have a chance to break that cycle that leaves us lonely with a whole bunch of sicknesses. It's reported that 30% of heart disease is because of loneliness and stress at work. That's what if we could fix 30% of that ailment just by changing how we belong or just understanding even the belonging? That's the research. The other research is in a 25 million person study, the number one driver for people's well-being is is actually belonging. That's the number one driver. This was reported by 25 million people in the largest study of its kind. So, what I want you to do is get a new understanding of belonging, one that puts you in place. I'm going to give you a simple three by three right now. Real belonging, it's relational, and you are always in your own agency. And that is, on one side, these three things. And your brain is doing this checksum all the time. You're going to be thinking about this while we're talking. Really, you are. You feel, you own, and you care for somebody. And there, the other side, successes. I can do this. Three, dreams and failures. It's a three by three. Hands got a little problem right now. They're hurting. Um, but the three by three is you feel, own, and care for somebody in their successes, dreams, and failures. And it's reciprocal, which means they are doing that also for you in that actual belonging state. This is the big deal. Feel, own, and care. And think about it. Now, Jones is not bothering me right now, but there's not a dog that could come in here and bother me and say, hey, Dad, you're paying attention. You're talking to somebody else. No, that's not a dog. That's my dog. Why would he come here and bug me? Because I'm his person. We all have these things. I'm sitting here looking at uh, Andy. Andy, you are not an Andy somewhere. And there may be other Andys with your spelling of your name. I doubt with your spelling of your name in the last name. But Andy, pardon, you're my Andy. I hope I'm your Paul, because if that's the case, we have belonging. And in the workplace, we keep leaving that out. We keep staying only on the, wait a minute, the believing in purpose side of things. But we have belonging and we're wired for it. We are literally geared for this. And when we do it, we end up with this crazy shell that contains this magical designed being to actually read, respond, figure out, and generate our neurochemical space to be unbelievably better. We get oxytocin and serotonin just by belonging. Now, why does that even matter? Well, that's because in oxytocin, you get multiple things that are so much better for you. I mean, imagine, think about, actually, first of all, let's pause. Go back into a space and think about something you just would like to get better at. Like someone had mentioned earlier, you know, I don't have much connection here. I don't have this. I do something and they don't show up. And part of that is we're designed to read when somebody doesn't show up. We're designed to go, hey, wait, that's a flare. I'm not getting the feels. But they don't have the feels for me. And if they say that I'm theirs, something doesn't add up. The own might be there, but the feels are not. The care. Somebody steps up and actually shows up and cares for us. Like I can say this, and thank you so much. I see some people here uh, uh, that showed up for me. I appreciate that. You are my people, and I strive to be yours also. Um, and that means in successes, dreams, and failures. And the failures being sometimes maybe it's my ADHD, which I don't believe I do have, but my friend insists I do. And I might miss things. Uh, I believe I might have missed an email, Dennis. Thank you. But in that space, because that relationship is there and we choose that for each other, this just automatically happens. Our brains get oxytocin. They produce oxytocin. Well, here's what you get with this, and this is why you get better. You get generous. Yes, that's a function of belonging. You become more empathetic. You can actually express feeling and care for somebody more. And why does this matter in our workplace and teams? Well, primarily, uh, the heart here has a very, oh, there's a heart here. I just saw myself on the screen. Um, your heart has oxytocin receptors. Um, if you've ever had a heart issue, which by the way, that's what I had. I had a heart issue. My heart stopped in the operating table. When you have a heart issue, um, we can have less and fewer heart problems. Why? Because, plain and simple, your heart has oxytocin receptors. When you're in belonging, you produce oxytocin. You get the oxytocin, it goes to your heart. You have stem cells in your heart. And so your heart has to rebuild all the time. It's working all the time. And when it rebuilds, it's keying in on, do I have oxytocin? When it does that, the inner areas of the heart also rebuild, not just maybe the outer protective layers. So we get stronger. I mean, if you have a weak heart, how well can you do certain things? Like like even walking upstairs can be tough. Or as we just had our sweet girl Gracie, our the lab had a heart problem. It would make it hard for her to sleep because she would dream and her heart was starting to fail. We can prevent heart disease and failure. We would be better just by being in belonging. It's amazing. We also get high interpersonal trust. We develop the ability to read and trust with somebody. Um, you get emotional recognition. You pretend think about being a team leader, just a teammate, and you're going, does my team get this? Do they got me? You can read that so much faster with oxytocin. It does change it. Another crazy thing that happens when we're in good state of belonging, we can be up against something totally daunting. It gets less daunting, especially when someone says, come on, you got this. Just do it. That's really what happens in belonging. And we generate, when we're in feel own care, we get a boost of oxytocin, a sustained level in belonging. Think about Navy SEALs or Delta. They're that good in large part because they have belonging. Now, there's this other chemical that comes along. If you think about your neurochemicals, you have dose. So you need a dose of these chemicals. Dose is dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. They're kind of four that most people talk about. So we're giving you a dose, but I want to give you a dose of the team OS, and that's oxytocin, which we just mentioned. And then the other thing is serotonin. And this is crazy. People don't realize. People think about, oh, it's just the mood drug. It levels you out. First of all, it might be disproven. The latest research, though, reveals this. You get increased adaptability. In other words, your ability to perceive and make the shift happens. It's beautiful. You repeat fewer errors because you go, ah, I've already done that. You get this clarity in there. Now, what's also cool is you get this clarity under intense pressure. So you get this calmness, which is this, yeah, I got this. If I fumble something up, if I hit a wrong key, say that Jones, he's going to come here right in a moment here. I'm going to let him come up. Here, Jones, he heard me talking on the thing, so now he's going to interrupt the talk. Okay, off, buddy. So what ends up happening now is I can be adaptable. Why? Because I have serotonin. Where do we get serotonin? We get it when we belong. It naturally gets developed, comes out in our body, shows up, and it creates this ability for adaptability and focus. So we're simply better when we belong. It is that simple. So it's really great. We live in a world right now where, oh, it doesn't support belonging. Most workplaces don't. But you don't have to give in to that. You can choose to feel, own, and care for somebody in successes, dreams, and failures. And that's like an invitation for them to do that with you. If they don't, let your mind tell you, ah, we don't belong yet, or we maybe are not going to belong. And our brains are exquisitely designed to figure that out. It's beautiful. And so in doing that, we're literally going to be creating a space which we are empowered to do because it's my side and their side. It's your side and their side. That's how we belong. And our brains are designed for this beautiful picking up back and forth. And then we get these neurochemicals. You get a dose of your team OS. And in that, you're stronger at the head and at the heart level. So what I'll leave you with this right now is it's a beautiful space to be, and you are actually empowered to belong. You do not have to wait for somebody to basically accept you, include you, uh, give you an identity with them, and to just to be authentic. You get to be you, and you get to do that in self-belong, and it's amazing. So I'll leave you with this. Feel, own, and care for somebody in their successes, dreams, and failures. Do it and do that for yourself also.